Hello. So I decided to create this video because I'm a nursing faculty, nursing educator, and I started out in hospice very unprepared for hard conversations. So I hope we can kind of go through this handout together and you can learn from my mistakes. So like I said, started out in hospice, then went into the ICU for a handful of years. And I found this handout a few years into my ICU career and just thought, wow, I didn't learn any of this in nursing school. So I'll just start from the left as far as like empathetic communication and key takeaways for communicating with patients when we have no relatability, right? I was a cancer ICU nurse and I've never been diagnosed with cancer. I've never been in the ICU. So there's a lot of like trying to find that connection and relatability with patients. On the far left here, you have naming. And I've crossed this out entirely because unless you're working in peds, naming other people's emotions can sound patronizing. You could likely mislabel their emotion altogether, and then you're invalidating and you're harming that rapport with the patient. So we'll skip that and we'll go over to understanding. All the ones that are starred are ones that I said countless times in my career at the bedside. So I can't even imagine how difficult this must be for you. What you said just really helps me understand the situation better. I can see how dealing this is hard. I can see how important this is for you, like those sorts of things. Next is respecting. So I'll get into faith in the next page, but I really admire your faith, your strength, your commitment to your family, those sorts of things. And then it's you are such a strong person who has been through so much. I can really see how dedicated, loving, caring you are. You are such a strong, dedicated, caring person, really validating the human experience and everything that this patient is going through or their family is going through. And then I'm really impressed by all that you've done to manage your illness. And what I say to my students is, even if someone is in the hospital because they didn't do a great job of managing their illness, everyone is still trying their best. Everyone's still trying their best, and they don't want to be in the hospital either. So we can validate their experiences there. Next is supporting. So I will do my best to make sure you have what you need. Our team is here to help you through this. We will work hard to get you the resources and the support that you need. We are committed to help you in any way we can. Notice it's very like team focused. So I emphasize this because I think it helps prevent staff splitting, but it's also very humbling, right? We as nurses get to work our shift, do the best we can for our patients, and then go home and sleep in our comfortable beds and live our lives and have our days off and do all of that. And our patients don't. They are still in the hospital. So I think it's important to assert that we can leave work at work and the team, the healthcare team, will continue on, to support the patient in the best way they can. However, at the bottom, you'll notice that I've crossed out, we will go through this together. I feel pretty strongly about this. Like, we are not going through things with our patients. We are not going through cancer treatment. We are not going through surgery. We are not doing this with the patient. And I've had patients who, just more of a foot in mouth sort of situation when I've said, we're going to get through this together, kind of an off the cuff, regular day-to-day speak. And I had a patient who was like, no, we're not. You're going home at the end of your shift and I'm still here. We're not going through this together. So there's one example. And then next is exploring. So call it, nursing intuition, your gut instinct, a red flag. We are the number one trusted profession, right? And people you just met when you come on shift are going to tell you things that you are wildly unprepared for. And people can also use humor as a coping mechanism and say things that don't really sound right or that trigger that gut instinct or nursing instinct. So I think of it as we have to explore more. We have to dive a bit deeper. So examples here, could you say more about what you mean when you say, I don't want to give up, I'm hoping for a miracle? Help me understand more about what you just said. Tell me more. Can you say more about that? Because I look at advocating or advocation on a spectrum, right? If my patient just said, I'm done with this, and let's say he's like walking with PT, he's walking with physical therapy, and he says, I'm done with this. I think there's a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum of, okay, are you done with physical therapy and you want me to go kind of tuck you into bed and you're just done with the day? Great, I will do that. Are you saying that you want to leave the hospital AMA? Then, okay, that requires like advocating for you and diving a bit deeper. Or did you have a quality of life discussion yesterday that you are processing and you just decided on your answer, like, I'm done with this, send me home on hospice, right? Those are different levels of this in the spectrum of advocating. That is my job as the nurse, our jobs as nurses, to figure out that how we can advocate for our patients. And then the last column to the right is I wish statements. Again, very much like a foot in mouth situation where I told a patient, like, I wish I had better news. And he was like, yeah, duh, of course. Don't apologize, you didn't give me cancer. And also, like, human to human, like, you don't want me to have cancer, right? So yeah, duh, of course, you wish you had better news. Like, so I think it focuses more on our like internal comfort of trying to like say something, focuses on us instead of focusing on the patient. And then we have this next page. So I told you we'd kind of bring up a religion again. So you'll hear, you know, God's going to bring me a miracle, or anything about God or higher powers or anything religion and spirituality. And we can say things like, I hope that for you too, right? Human to human, if my patient wants something for themselves, then I want that for them as well. So remember, no buts, just I hope that for you too. I really admire and respect your faith. I strongly recommend not crossing the professional boundary here and not talking about your own spirituality or religion, and really just keeping it in that supporting, respecting, validating manner. These next three I'm going to group together. How much time do I have left? Are you saying there's nothing more you can do? Are you telling me my dad is dying? These are all likely where a hard conversation occurred and patient and family are trying to process that conversation, understandably so, because emotions are high, right? So these kinds of questions I think are really hard nursing wise, right? That's why healthcare is a team sport. So you can say, I can't even imagine how difficult this must be. Let's have another conversation with your team as we're processing these. Rarely have I had quality of life conversations occur for a patient once, and then decision was made, end of story. Like, patient, family processing these, repeating information to make sure that they are getting everything that they need, all the support that they need. So having another discussion, great, let's do it. Are you giving up on me is the next one. No, we don't give up on people. That's kind of a soapbox of mine as far as like giving up is a horrible phrase, but no, we do not give up on anyone. We're saying that we want to make sure we get you the best care possible to take care of what's going on for you right now. Our team is committed to help you in every way that we can. We will work hard to get you the resources and the support that you need. Again, really focusing on like, there are people here who care about you, and we are here to get you everything that you need. And then last, here, I'll just move my little screen here. My dad is a fighter. He is a strong person, and he has been through so much, really validating that. I admire that so much about him. I really admire how much you care about your dad. Tell me more about your dad and what matters most to him. I highly value the connection that I have with patients and with their families, and trying to do the most I can for them. So I've changed patients' rooms, right? If a patient can't make it home to die and they're going to die in the hospital, then I have like plastered, you know, grandkids' drawings all over the walls and turned on a Disney movie and maybe the Beatles on the computer, like whatever they need to make it a little less sterile and a little more comfortable. And then this last page is more of a scenario. So we'll say, good morning, my name is Natasha. I'm going to be your father's nurse today. I heard that you had a meeting with the medical team yesterday. Could you share more information? Could you share the information you got from the meeting yesterday with me? Let's say it's the daughter. I'm really upset with the meeting. They told me that he will not survive this illness, and they plan on taking him off the respirator today. I feel like he has been about the same the last 2 weeks, and not much has changed with his condition. so I do not know now why they now say this illness is not survivable. Just a reality check here to pause. If you just got on shift, you absolutely can say, hey, I just got here. Let me go grab some more information and then I'll be right back. But we can come back and say, it sounds like a lot went on yesterday. Let me tell you what I know. Over the past 2 days, your father had an increase in the need for medication to keep his blood pressure up. While the team was trying to find out what was wrong, they found that part of his GI tract has died, and this is a surgical emergency. The surgery team was consulted, and they decided your father would not survive in surgery due to his very low platelets from his cancer. A dead GI tract can only be fixed by surgery, so the team discussed with your mother that the best thing to do for your father now is to focus on his comfort and discontinue life-prolonging therapies. Do you have any questions about your father's current condition? I think it is really important for all of us to be on the same page, so before we move forward with any plans, would it be okay if I arranged an additional meeting with the medical team and your family? There's some key points in here. One, health literacy, right? Does the family know what blood pressure and low platelets are, what that means and the importance there, as well as making sure everyone is on the same page before moving forward with any plans is also important for your license too as a nurse, especially if we're going into like terminal extubation stages. And then again, my point before of just having these quality of life conversations more than once is very understandable and reasonable and to be expected. And then last, I leave you with just, I gave you a lot of resources, right? Gave you a lot of resources here, things to say, phrases to say, but at the end of the day, like it can feel really overwhelming when all of this is on your shoulders as a nurse. And I don't think we always have to say the right thing. So my example here is I had a male nursing student who was doing a rotation in the ER at a local hospital here. And he told me later that a patient came in actively having a miscarriage and his preceptor was female. And so he just thought, oh, I'll just stay out of this one. And he ended up going in just to get triage and do vital signs. And then the doc came in quite quickly to do a DNC. So the student moved to the shoulder, to the head of the bed with the patient and just put his hand on his shoulder. And later he said, I felt really silly and really incompetent and I didn't know what to say. So I didn't say anything. And I told him, the best thing you can do for your patient is to be present. And you witnessed a really hard moment in her life. And I think that's a privilege in nursing to witness the beautiful moments, the hard moments, the worst moments, and everything in between. So it doesn't have to all fall on you. You don't have to say the right thing. You can just be present for your patients. And yes, it's a hard profession, but that connection and that deep humanity and being able to witness that deep humanity is a privilege. And it doesn't go unnoticed. That patient, before she left the ED, singled out the student and said, thank you for being there. So that's what I leave you with today. This is just a quick lecture that I like to give my nursing students at the end of their clinical day, and I hope it's helpful for you. Thank you.